Welcome to the What's Already podcast. We fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-hosts Mattson Heiner.
Better read than dead.
And Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Tell a friend about us. Tell a family member about us. Tell a creepy kid about us.
Or don't. I'm okay with the creepy kids not knowing about me. That's fine.
No, you should definitely tell a creepy kid about us and then have them go and like make video messages to Alec because that should be hilarious. I'll save that joke for later. So we're on the final week of Halloween. Happy Halloween to everyone, by the way, coming up here in the next couple of days. We're on the final week of the month, so we've skipped past the not so scary movies, and we're supposed to enter into a scary movie. I don't remember this movie. Apparently, I think I was remembering a different version of this movie.
Same thing.
Because I think it fit the theme of scary, not scary, not scary, scary. Anyway, we're finishing up with Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice. I didn't even know it had a subtitle in it, so I really think I was thinking a different movie. But anyway, it was released January 29th, 1993, and that's that one other way you know it wasn't a great horror movie because it released in fucking January. It was written by A.L. Katz, Gilbert Adler, Stephen King. I didn't know that. Well, I guess I should rephrase. It was based on
stories. Yeah.
One of his short stories. It was directed by David Price. Stars Terrence Knox, Paul Scherer, Ryan Bowman, Christy Clark, Rosalind Allen, Ned Romero, Ed Grady, John Benz, and Joe Insco. It's about a journalist and his son who traveled to Nebraska to investigate the mysterious town of Gatlin, where, unbeknownst to them, a murderous cult of children are still waiting in the cornfields. I think it's a misnomer, though, because they weren't going to Gatlin. They stopped on the way to Gatlin in a different town altogether. Gatlin's where the original one took place. So, Children of the Corn 2, The Final Sacrifice. Look, Mattson, what the hell were you thinking?
You got a lot to answer for.
Hey, I saw this movie when I was in third grade.
Fair.
So,
why?
I mean, I haven't seen it since I had a sixth grader friend that I remember being in the house and it was on TV and we watched because I know I've seen bits and pieces of other ones, but I knew this is the one that I saw because of I wasn't sure if this one had the house scene. It did. And so when I was in third grade, like, I don't know. I mean, things are a lot different when I was 9 years old. So a lot different. I thought this movie would have been, because I'd seen the first one. I recently rewatched that one a year ago, and I knew that had like the 80s vibe. I was like, oh, this is kind of like the slasher thriller, like not scary, kind of comical in a sense. From what I remember, number 2, I was like, they're going to up the ante. They certainly did that in terms of like how people died, but like the actual scaring, there was like essentially none of it. There was the only part of this movie when the bed and breakfast lady like goes back into her room and is like saying like, hey, is anyone here? And then like they do like their version of a jump scare. I was like, oh, like I went like, I think it's it, but I was like, oh,
sure.
That was the only thing, because other than that, everything wasn't that it was, you knew it was happening. It was gruesome, but it wasn't particularly scary. Like they opened the blinds and there's kids there, but other than that, like I was a little disappointed. Just honestly speaking, because when I remember about this movie, like I remember when that house was dropped on that lady. That was terrifying to me when I was 9. I was like, dude, what? Why do these kids do that? And then the deadpan staring definitely got me more when I was 9 than it got me now. Like, and then I think the last thing I'll just say off the top of my head, didn't know corn could be so murderous and split glass and the things that slit throats, and my goodness, just was it a good movie? I mean, I never expected. I knew it was going to be a bad movie because it was a sequel, but I thought it was going to be a little bit like make me feel more creepy and eerie. It didn't really do that. It's kind of lame.
Yeah, I don't know what movie I thought we were getting into. And maybe it's because they did like a remake in 2020, and I don't remember watching that, but I'm sure I did because it's me and I like horror movies. And so maybe that one was creepy. I just remember like the Children of the Corn being creepy, or maybe I'm remembering reading the short story, the book, and
Well, it
going,
could be some of the later ones. They made like 9 or 8
sure,
or something. There's a ton of them.
yeah. I don't know that they ever got any better though. Like
I
I know that
I certainly hope they did.
I know that Eva Mendes was in one. Like I think like number 4 or number 5, something like that. She was in one of them.
Hey, I'll say this. I know
that.
Alec was happy that it wasn't really scary. He was like, okay.
Well, actually, I was more just disappointed because I got myself all worked up all month for absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah.
I will say though, like to your point, Mattson, with the dropping of the house on the lady, I was more scared about the Wizard of Oz references that were made because that movie is scary to me. And hearing the "What a World" as she's being crushed, and then the legs made me think of Wizard of Oz for most of the rest of the movie, and then I scared myself. But I was bored watching this for
Like
the entire time.
Sure. A better version of this movie, at least for me, now having seen it, like the Jeepers Creepers movie, like similar type of premise, like ish, far better. I wouldn't like they're not like terribly scary, but I think it would be much more gruesome for you, Alec, and make you because like the story here was confusing because I was like, wait, is this a sequel, prequel? It was like the way they started, I was like, is this a continuation of the first one? But obviously there was different actors. So I was like, wait, my head's in a tizzy right now. I think it just felt so jumbled at the beginning. And then I got my bearings straight. But then like there just wasn't much there. I do remember it being 9 though. The chick that played Christina, what was it, the girl, I know I liked her. That I definitely remember that too.
Oh yeah.
She was easy on the eyes. I remember that.
Sure.
Easy on the eyes. Okay, Grandpa.
Hey, I'm trying to sound like I'm from Nebraska.
Somebody sounded older than me right there. I like it. Yeah, Jeepers Creepers is interesting. I have a hard time. I didn't watch any of them after the first one because Salva, the creator, was a convicted pedophile, so I had a hard time.
I never knew that.
Supporting any of the movies he did after the first one.
I like the first
after
one.
I found out about the first one was creepy as fuck.
That's what we should watch because that will make Alec feel some type of way.
We gotta wait a year now. October's done. Oh darn!
I'm sure Charles can figure some shit out.
I had to watch this movie by myself while Tay was sleeping while I was in Hawaii, and as we started, I was like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm more than fine."
Yeah. Well, I started getting into it, and I was like, it really, like I said, 5 seconds in, I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was. And then when the corn went through the windshield, like I was like, nope, been around corn my whole life. It won't do that. I don't care how hard you throw that shit. It's not going through the windshield like that. It was just like, wow. And then I was out of the movie, and then everything just I was viewing things from the lens, and I could see where as a child, maybe I'd have been a little creeped out by certain aspects of it. But I was also a fucked up child when it came to like horror movies and stuff. So I think this one I would have just made fun of mostly like I did. But viewing it from the lens of an adult, like the death by 1,000 syringes before he gets stabbed with an actual knife. Like I'm standing there going, what? Start hitting these motherfuckers. Like, what are you doing? Like, I realize that needles don't feel great. And I don't love needles. Like I have an issue with needles, but you start poking me with them. One, half the time he's getting poked in his sternum, like his torso. Anybody that's ever had to give themselves shots, like they don't hurt that much. Like you're like, oh, that stung when it first went in, but I'm gonna start swatting fucking Children of the Corn real quick. We'll see how many times they want to keep stabbing me with a freaking syringe.
Or the fact that like no one comments on these like 8 children just standing there ominously, like at all locations, like we're cool with it. Like it's fine. This is what our children do. I'm like
Nebraska kids are weird as fuck, dude.
Yeah, and how did they figure out how to like insta hack a wheelchair? Like that thing was driving a remote control car, and then all of a sudden starts driving the old lady's
Dude,
wheelchair.
Granny got boosted, man.
Yeah, like, pretty sure that shit wasn't real in the 90s. Like, you couldn't do it like that.
Or the fact that that she was sitting there long enough in the road that, I'm sorry, that dump truck or whatever, like you didn't see her like coming down the road. She was just sitting there for like 10. I don't know. It was just all so funny.
Well, and
to
why
me.
did she fly in a straight 90-degree angle into the window?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that road was running parallel to the building where they're playing bingo.
I don't know.
And then she was like a whole ass person when she got there too. Like, that truck was big enough. She'd have been like pulp. The chair would have maybe hit the window and mangled mess, but everything was intact, including the weird fucking old lady dummy that fell through the glass.
There's all that, but then you guys know me, like I'm the type of person, if you're gonna show like a sex scene or something like that, it needs to be like purposeful. And one, this was like the lamest scene ever. Two, I don't even know, like it's like they decided, hey, we need to show some stuff to like to make this more interesting. Because why did those two they barely even knew each other, and like there was, it just felt so random. I was like, why am I even watching this right now? It didn't even like, it didn't fit to me.
Because it was an 80s and 90s horror
I know,
movie.
like you had to like put that
gratuitous sex scene, have to have it. The only thing you were
Well-
missing in this was the gratuitous tit shot. Like, that's the only thing you were missing. And I think anything that's named children of something, you can't put that in there and without at least thinking it through. So that's probably the only reason we didn't get. My problem with the sex scene was like, look, sex is sweaty, but Jesus. It looked like they car waxed this motherfucker before he started. The fucking perfect droplets of water that were. I was like, this is weird. It's like, that's not. I'd be like, get the fuck off me, lady. Like, they're sweating, and then there's like that.
Look, all I'm saying is, in my contract, if I was an actor, like I'd be like, I'm out. I ain't doing that stuff. I don't know how people weird.
And I hope you have another bed, because I'm not sleeping there. Like,
yeah,
the amount of
like,
sweat you're sleeping in a puddle at that point. Like, going over to the other bedroom that's in this bed and breakfast. I'm not staying in that bed. Jesus, like that. I was just so disturbed by how wet they were.
Well, there's that. And another random thing that made me laugh is when they were doing like the blood sacrifice on the hand with that like machete or whatever, but the sound like of like whoosh, I'm like, he just went like that's not the sound. Like he didn't even the sound effects with this just made me chuckle too.
I'm not letting him swing on me like that either, because they'd be missing fingers. Like, he just perfectly slices right down the.
I was like, I'm pretty sure he sliced through the hand. Like, it's gone.
That why do you need that big of a knife? Why do you need Jason's machete? Like,
always take a big knife. You never want to be caught in a knife fight with a small knife, JJ.
Yeah, but you're not knife fighting. You're fucking.
You never know what's gonna happen with he who lives behind the rose is involved.
He who walks behind the rose. I will say, I love that phrase. I was like, I'll get behind that. It's cool.
I liked it the first time. It was like the 93rd time they said it that I was like, okay, we get it.
He who walks behind the rose. But then, like the whole mound thing that's moving, you're like, what monster are we dealing with? And then the particle thing taking over. What was his name? Mordecai? I can't remember his name. Mordecai or somebody else. Like the weirdest.
No, he had a normal name.
Yeah, it was like Matthew or something.
But like that CGI scene, dude, like, I don't know, man.
Micah. It was Micah.
What was that? It was taking over his cells or something fun. Like, what?
Dude, that was trippy.
Yeah. And then it exploded into probably the most uncomfortable death scene of him getting like shredded by the corn freaking the combine.
And like spitting him out. It's like,
that's not how that works, but sure.
Tell us how that works, JJ, because I don't know.
The combines?
Mm-hmm.
The combines aren't that's not a hay feeder. Like, the corn combines that are like that, the idea is to separate, right? So it leaves mulch on the ground and it takes the corn and the corn cobs and pulls them like it separates. It doesn't mulch. It's not, it doesn't. And there's some residual, but when you see them, like if you ever see one run in a cornfield, like it looks like bees flying around the fucking, because all the shit. First of all, people running through corn in movies, that's a fucking joke. If you ever walked in an actual cornfield,
Yeah.
that shit's horrifying. It's there's not enough room. It's not like you have all this spacious room to run. Like you're hitting corn the whole way you go through. The leaves of corn hurt like a motherfucker. They'll slice your ass up like as good as any knife. And then on top of that, the amount of bugs and spiders and shit that's in cornfields, I'm out. You couldn't pay me enough to run through a cornfield. Like one time I walked through a cornfield and it was not a cornfield is an incorrect. This is like my neighbor's like giant ass backyard that half of the yard was corn. But and you have to get it tight because corn is a self-pollinating. So you have to have as much as you can possibly get so that it pollinates, so that you actually grow a ton of corn. So it's like super tight inside of a cornfield. It's not this fucking shit we see in movies where you got 8 inches on either side of you and you're like, oh, I might get hit with a corn leaf on a cake. No, that shit's nasty. And it grows for months and months and months. And so like, yeah, you get all sorts of nasty shit in there. I'm out. Not happening. But yeah, corn, when you see it, like shit's flying around the combine everywhere. That's why they're enclosed cabs, because the shit's everywhere. And there's not like this fucking spout spitting shit out. Like, hey, you're looking at hay shit, and that's what that does. Corn, it's a separator, basically, more than it is anything else. Anyway, there's your education on corn.
Why do they call it a combine if it separates? That's gonna mess with my brain.
Yeah, Jay, tell us.
For forever.
I don't fucking know. I just grew up in the Midwest around a lot of fucking corn. That's the I only know that because, like, well, I told you, like, I have family that have farms, and like, it's been around them. They're fucking big, ugly, nasty machines, but I've never been around one that big. Those are huge, but yeah, I just laughed. That's more
being
like
in the middle of a cornfield at nighttime, like when it's really dark, like that could be scary. I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, corn mazes are kind of creepy and fun because you don't actually go in the corn. You go through the fucking part that's been chopped around and made into a path. But like, it's corn, going into corn is more claustrophobic than anything else, and gross. Like shit, you feel the cobwebs, the like spider webs and the bugs. It's uncomfortable.
I could see how if it was a mass, like those massive farm cornfields, you run in and you're like trying to run from something, you could definitely get disoriented, and then corn can go really tall. Don't know where you are.
Oh yeah, it's not fun. Like I said, I used to help family like do like the smaller cornfields, and a neighbor who had like I said, half his backyard was corn. But you chop the stalks down and pull the ears of corn off. Like you don't walk through the middle and start plucking fucking, because it's not like they regrow. You know what I mean? Like you don't pluck a corn cob and then wait 3 months or another month and there's another fucking corn cob. That's not how that works either. Like you get what you get out of a stalk and then you move on. And so it's when it comes harvest time, you go through and you chop the whole fucking thing down, take all your corn. That's why cornfields are there. And then the next day they're not. Yeah. Because they just go through and
JJ, did you ever prank any of your neighbor friends with like a crop circle or a crop sign or anything?
Oh no, we'd have got murdered. It's so much, like that's ruined so much crop. Like they'd be so pissed. We should have. I cow tipped. It's another beauty of living in the Midwest. Doesn't kill them like everybody. They just kind of go boom, boom. It's not as fun as you might think, and you usually end up with cow shit all over you. And
imagine it's a lot harder than one expects as well, right?
No, it's really not. Like, because mostly what happens is they do sleep. Sometimes they'll sleep standing up, or they'll just. So if you can get it, most of the time is you're scaring them, and then you hit them, and then like they just kind of boom, and they just fucking.
What JJ's saying is cows are dumb.
Cows are very dumb. Most stock animals like that are kind of dumb, except pigs. Pigs are ridiculously smart. Like I had a friend that had a pig farm, and one of the most disturbing things in my entire life, and I'm not going to tell this on the podcast. If you guys want to hear about it, I can talk about it afterwards, or when Charles can hear all about it, or the Patreon, and go check it out. But I helped slaughter a series of pigs. Most disturbing thing I've ever seen done, been part of in my life. And pigs know, like, you build a corral when you slaughter these animals, and they, as soon as they set up the corral, those pigs are like, you can go fuck yourself. I'm not going in there. Like, they had to be forced into the corral because they knew what was coming. And cows, they were just like, dum dum, we'll go. Fuck, whatever. The pigs were like, fuck off. It's not. And then I'm telling you, it was one of the most awful things.
Charles, what I'm hearing is if there's a horror movie with pigs, there you go.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that was the most. I will never forget that for the rest of my life. Like, and I've helped other animals, but the pig, that was horrifying. So, yeah, changed my view on a lot of things.
Poor little Wilbur.
I'll still eat bacon though. I ain't scared. But I did swear off bacon for a couple weeks after that. I was like,
a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm no activist. I have no problem with it. Like, I understand the necessity and the need for bacon. I love bacon and ham. I'm okay with ham. But I couldn't look at, we have bacon in the fridge, and I was like, nah, I'm good. That was rough. Then I got over it.
Pulled pork, baby.
I'll take some pulled pork. Anyway, this is how bad this movie was. It's more interesting to talk about other shit, but like, I think that was the most hard part for me, was like watching it in the lens of an adult going, what the fuck is happening? Like, none of it made sense. And then on top of the fact that I'd never thought about it before until I was watching this today. And I was like, why is it always an indigenous burial ground or some sort of indigenous ceremony? Like, what was it with the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that it always had to go back to the native culture?
It's Stephen King. That's what it is.
That's fair. Which is ironic because, I mean, I guess they were.
Because I think they have all the stories and the legends and all that it's easy to call upon. That doesn't make it right or to think, but they just have all those stories.
Sure.
And they were there. They predated the white people that's stole their land and everything. I don't know. I just think it's always that. It doesn't, like,
commandeered.
Yeah.
There you go. For sure.
Commandeered.
But like every movie around that time period, 100%. That's what they did.
I was cracking up at how accurate Red Bear is to like an actual old Native American grandpa. Where just like imparting wisdom about living in balance and then being nice. So that's what happened to Gatlin. It's like, no, the white kids just went ape shit crazy.
Best line in this whole movie, dude.
I did
found
like
this
them.
complete like balance and kind of spieling like, nope, they just went ape shit.
Yeah,
I did like that guy. So he said that I was not expecting him to be real like that, but he's totally right.
Alec's not wrong. I knew a lot of those in Arizona.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Funny fuckers, man.
Big, like, super in-depth kind of feel-good moment, and then they just follow it up with the punchline.
Yeah. Philosophize on your ass. Like, seriously, I remember one time we were up in Flagstaff area on one of on the res up there, and I was talking to one of these old boys was up there just chatting away with us and talking about, the white man this and the white man that, and like getting all serious and shit. And I was like, well, this is an interesting conversation. Like, I was into it, right? And then he's like, yeah, but you guys know how to make some fucking alcohol. And I was like, oh, what? I was like, that came out. We were just like 20 minutes of being lectured and like making me feel bad about my whiteness. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, you can make some booze though. I was like, Jesus. Oh, it was great, man. It was great. Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I laughed my ass off at that shit. They just went ape shit. Like, they just went bad shit.
Because like it's the whole discovery process, right? Of like, oh, there's something deeper here, and nope.
Yeah, no.
Just went ape shit.
What was the other one? There was another line. He's like, just like a white man. Like and I fucking lost it, but I can't remember what the line was. I was telling myself to remember it, but I fucking like the whole sequence
just
of him
like
in the school.
Man, always take, never give, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I was laughing my ass off.
Always think everything belongs to you.
Yeah. Boy, did they do that fucker dirty too. Like, seriously, like, wow. I mean, it did not pay to be racially diverse in this movie. Black dude gets it right out the gate, crawling through the corn. Like, what the fuck? Why would you push him out of the fucking town to get out of the van?
Well, yeah, why would you get out of the van? That was my question.
And then you immediately steal this dude's seat. Like, you get back where he was after he's toasted the fight. So black dude gets whacked right out the gate. And then we need the native dude to tell us, here's what's going on, motherfucker. And then he eats it with an arrow to the belly from some white fucking Amish kid. Fuck, come on now. That's rough. And then they get him out of the fucking truck just for him to die. And then, you just gonna fucking have a burial, like a fucking burning ceremony in the middle of this fucking corn? Like, you ain't tell anybody? You're just gonna burn this dude? Burn Red Bear.
Hey, he had some dope Darth Vader funeral type shiz right there, though. I was about it.
You gotta get licenses and shit for that. You can't just fucking burn
Not Nebraska, JJ.
Hey,
you do whatever the fuck you want in Nebraska.
This is middle of Podunk, Nebraska, dude. Nobody cares.
Like fucking, we're doing a concontrolled leaf burn. Red Bear's part of it. We'll do two birds, one stone.
Hey, what are you surprised about? We're talking about a whole town got massacred, and they just were like, we're fine. These children, they're fine. Let's have
move
them live
them 5 miles down the road. They'll be fine.
Let's have them live in our houses. No big deal. Like, it's okay.
And I mean, to be fair, pretty much everybody else in the town, according to this movie, was in that church that burnt. So, how one little 5-gallon can of gas makes it run through the fucking air conditioning vent like that? I was like, wait, what? And if there was that much gas that it looked like a waterfall coming through the vent, that fucking place blows up in 2 seconds flat. Like, it's not, it took a while to get going. But fornication. Oh, fuck.
Hey, that combine blew up like Hollywood style for sure, though. That thing was like a nuclear bomb.
Oh, yeah.
I also kind of enjoyed the, what was the cause behind everything.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially just moldy ass corn.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as that happened, I really was like, oh, yeah, you showed the monster kind of a thing. Like, now it's, you made it real, so to speak, instead of having this more or less supernatural element. But I got a kick out of the reporter guy, George, or whoever it was.
Yeah.
Like, straight up touching the toxic waste that later burns a hole in his pants because he wiped it off, but his fingers are just fine.
Yeah. The shock and awe when he's like, that shit burnt right through my pants. Yeah. You didn't feel that shit eating away your skin on your fingers? Like, did you go have a hand wash session we didn't get to see somewhere in between?
What's funny about all that, I actually liked that they had a backstory to explain like what was happening to the corn and maybe like why the supernatural element was kind of there. But obviously it fell flat in its face. But I thought, because I liked the scenes that Red Bear was in with the reporter, like I was like, all right, they got like, they had a little thing going. Then the cop shows up. I was like, all right, we're back to like 80s, early 90s, just like debauchery. Like, what is happening right now? But I like their little like investigative like stuff they were doing. It was just, that was really it. Everything else was just terrible, not scary. But I liked the both of them.
I think I'd have been okay with the fucking corrupted corn if they hadn't had the weird demon face and crawly thing at the end too. Like, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't explain the Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs kids by corn and then have the dude being obsessed, like possessed by some fucking ironic demon that makes his eyeballs turn, like his pupils turn all the way his eyeball. And then, like, you can't have it both ways. Like, it's either a fucking demon or it's the fucking corn. It can't be both.
Yeah.
But then they don't get to have their Native American ritual and tribal history passed down on a rock.
Well, that was the other part too. I'm like, nobody's gonna just fucking like, nobody's studying this rock or anything. It's not even like it's on the reservation or something. Like, it's just in some dude's backyard. Like, the fuck.
And it didn't look like it'd been, painted or carved very well. Like,
it's gonna last the generations.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would have been washed out after just a little bit. Like, that's why they do it in caves.
So disrespectful. Like, like I have no skin in the game. Obviously, pun intended. But goddamn, like that was bad. Like I was like, if this wasn't so bad, and I'm sure like it's offensive to some, but to others, like I'm sure it's like this is so bad I can't help but just laugh. You know what I mean? Because like I was like, Jesus, like it's not even. It's so bad to me. It's not. I can't. How would I? How does that look on me by being offended by that? Right? Like I'm. If I take that seriously, we're in fucking trouble. But I was like, but it did raise the question. I was like, man, I never like, and I'm a horror guy, and I started thinking about it. That's how I got distracted. I was like, man, how many of these movies have to do with burial grounds and fucking spirits, and they're mad, and they fucking built on this, or they built on that, and I'm like, wow. We're pretty awful when it comes to that shit. Like, you got Russians as action villains. You got, you got Middle Easterns for a time where the Middle Eastern area, and it was the villains for a while. We came back to Russians. Depending on the time frame, you got Germans. Here at home, though, damn.
Burial grounds.
Doesn't pay to be indigenous in this motherfucker at all. Jesus. Did Oshi watch this with you?
Kinda. She was falling asleep, which is another sign. She loves horror, and she was just.
I was just curious if she was sitting there watching Red Bear, going, "What the fuck?"
No, because she knows that if she does, then that just gives me ammo later to be like, fair. Hey, can you take me to one of your rocks where you have your ancient corn rituals?
Oh, that's a good thing she loves you.
Yeah. Oh, easy. Because I'm terrible. I'm a terrible person.
Oh, I love it. Me too. Me too. Yeah.
Let's rate this.
Else. Yeah.
We're done.
All right. All right. Redhead. It's your turn, buddy.
Giving it a 1 for nostalgia. That's it. Terrible movie. Not scary. Premise is interesting, but not executed well. But we'll never watch this again. I don't think I'll ever watch any of the Children of the Corns again, because like Jay just said, they're probably all of this like sad and random and depressing and state. So yeah, I let you all down. My nine-year-old Mattson let us down.
Man of the people right here, guys. Man of the people.
Look, I know when to fall on my sword, or should I say on my stalk of corn that would split my face in half. And I let you all down today.
Dude, there are a lot of these movies.
Yep.
I just decided I was going to look, and there's a lot. There's a lot. And the fifth one had some people in it, like Alexis Arquette, Eva Mendes, Greg Vaughn, Fred Williamson.
Why couldn't you pick that one, Mattson?
David Carradine. Jesus. Wow.
We might have to watch that one next year.
How'd they get people to be in that shit? Anyway, I guess it's a paycheck when you're a kid, right? I'll go. This movie was terrible. Like so bad that like seriously, I was like in it going, fuck, I thought I even texted Alec. I was like, this had to have been a different movie. I was thinking about something different because I thought it was creepy. Like when we were talking about it, it was previous episodes this month. I'm like, poor Alec's got to deal with creepy shit later. Wrong. This was funny. This was goofy. Like I was more creeped out by Ernest Scared Stupid than I was this movie. Like, not to mention the effects were way better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was bad. I'll give you this a 0.5. I'll never watch a Children of the Corn movie again, just because I'm like, it might be that one. On the same level, because they usually only get worse the further ahead you go. It was bad. It was really, though I laughed. I think I laughed a lot at how bad it was. Like seriously, shit like old ladies flying through windows at a 90-degree angle. Like I laughed my ass off. But yeah, not scary, not a good movie. But I appreciate it. It was funny. It's a good way to end a weird fucking Halloween month. So there you go. All right, Alec, your turn.
So while I was watching this, I fully expected to hop on the podcast today and be like, yeah, sorry guys, I watched the wrong movie. Wasn't gonna say anything because then you would make me watch the right one if I, was watching the wrong movie. But I wasn't scared at all, except for when I scared myself with the Wizard of Oz references, because that's immediately I started just like, oh, great, here we go. Yeah, it's gonna be a 0.5 for me too. I'm like, no desire to really watch this ever again. Never had any plans to watch any of the Children of Corn movies, so I'm glad this was the one I watched because I can always go back to, no, man, I saw this one, it sucks, so I'm not even gonna bother with any other ones. But yeah, 0.5 for me. Will not watch again.
Yeah. Still more entertaining than dolphin sex, though. So there we go. It's close. It was close. If it weren't for the fact that there was dolphin sex in it, I would have given it a 0.
Man, that movie's terrible. That movie's just bad.
Yeah. There it is. Well,
I definitely watched this movie over watching that movie again. No doubt.
That's a close one.
Ugh.
That's why they're both 0.5s for me.
At least they're short.
True. It was over.
The movie did have that going for it because the opening credits and end credits. This movie's only like 1 hour and like 23 minutes. Like truly.
Yeah. And it made no sense whatsoever. Like it just, that was why I was like, this movie makes no sense. But yeah, there it is. That's the end of our Halloween month. But Alec, why don't you tell everybody they can find us? And I'm so looking forward to you talking about Charles's name here.
I don't wanna. I don't wanna, JJ.
Love it.
But thank you for tuning in to the final week of October. Your boy, that'd be me, has survived another round of horror films on the podcast and still going strong. Thank you very much. We'll be here all week. Shout out to our patrons for selecting this choice and supplying the overall topic for the month. Richard, Mel Brooks, and JJ's luscious lickable lump.
Gotta go back to last episode.
Patreon is the place to get involved with all What's Our Verdict shenanigans. So join us there with Richard, Mel Brooks, and JJ's luscious lickable lump, if that's your thing. With that, I will kick it back to the Titan of Terror, to Keen of Crash, JJ.
And his luscious lickable lump.
Small lump.
It is, actually. And with that, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Catch you on the next one.
Mike,
I'm gonna need therapy.
Maybe that's why I don't get that sweaty during sex.
Oh gosh.
Whoa!